So I started watching your videos and reading about Advaita for a little bit over a year ago, um, and I've had these like ups and downs where sometimes I have these moments of real clarity that it's like, okay, it's so obvious that I will never forget. Like I know this, right? And then things happen and it seems like I lost that clarity, even though mentally I can remember that, um, like I can remember logically or conceptually that clarity that I had. I kind of lose that feeling. So my question is, do you have any recommendations for those moments where, let's say, those valleys where maybe you lose that clarity, or like what sort of reminders, what could I do to kind of get back on track?
Okay. So, Alessandro, the clarity that you speak of is just the essential nature of your mind, the fact of being aware, or awareness itself. And awareness is always transparent, open, empty, free, knowing. And it is often clouded or dimmed by thoughts and feelings. So thoughts and feelings obscure it or seem to obscure it. And that's the times when you feel a lack of clarity, and when this becomes very strong, you feel depressed. So what is to be done? Simply to go back to your essential nature. Trace your way back. Disentangle yourself from the content of experience in which you have temporarily lost yourself. You, awareness, have lost yourself in your own activity of thinking and perceiving, like an actor who temporarily loses himself in the part he is playing. What is to be done? He just needs to trace his way back to himself. That's all you need to do. Right now, even if you were deeply depressed, even in the midst of a deep depression, the nature of your mind is clear, open, empty, spacious, free, at peace, fulfilled, luminous. Not when the depression ends, but in the midst of the depression. So but we don't notice this because we become so involved in the content of our experience, in this case the depression or the lack of clarity or whatever it is you're feeling, the anxiety, the loneliness. We become, when we say I am depressed, we give 100% of our attention to the depression and no attention to the I am. But we even say I am depressed. What is that I am? It is your being that has been temporarily colored by a feeling. You have lost yourself in the feeling. Just come back to yourself. Yourself is, even when I say come back to yourself, it isn't quite accurate. When the actor John Smith loses himself in the part of King Lear, he doesn't cease being John Smith, and therefore he never really moves away from himself. But you understand what I mean. You lose yourself in your feeling, and you come back to yourself. That's it. Just come back to yourself. And if yourself seems obscure or remote or hard to access, then you can ask yourself a question as an aid to helping yourself. For instance, a question such as, what is it that is aware of my depression? Now, in order to answer that question, your mind has to disengage from the depression and find that which is aware of it. In other words, it must trace its way backwards towards its essence rather than forwards towards its content. And the more you do this, the pathway will get shorter and shorter, and you will find that less and less experiences have the capacity to veil the nature of your mind. So the experience of depression, for instance, it will, instead of being a heavy cloud that lingers in you, it will just be a thin film. And in time it will leave you. Remember, the thoughts and feelings, they're just conditioned patterns or habits. So all that is necessary is just make the habit, generate a new habit in yourself, the habit of going back to yourself. Every time you go back to yourself, it will become just that little bit easier. It'll take 10 minutes the first time, 9 minutes the next time, 8 minutes the next time, and in the end you notice the depression. You don't even need to formulate the question in the end. You notice the feeling, you straight back to yourself, and the feeling drops. And in time the feelings will leave you alone.
I would say that the issue that I've seen is that it's not like 10, 9, 8. It's more like one time takes 10 minutes. Next time I'm already there. It's 1 minute. And then next time is 20 minutes. And so I really, like, I don't feel the progression. I feel more like some random up and down. But I don't know if it's just, again, just a matter of...
Alessandra, ask yourself now, what is it that is aware of your experience? Don't answer the question with a word. Just ask yourself the question and go in your experience to that which is aware of your experience. Okay, it took you 10 seconds. Yeah, okay, that's it. Why should it ever take you longer than 10 seconds? So in future, don't give yourself more than 10 seconds. Yeah, that's the maximum.